Hello, everyone. Hello again. Hey. If we can kind of bring it down, like the teachers used to say, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. We would like to say hello again and welcome to our Opportunity for Every Child event today, where we will be discussing, what we've been talking about all along, getting funding to Leandro. And I'm sorry, I'm speaking very fast. Okay. And again, my name is Shalonda Riggin, and I am with Seeds of Hope out of Robinson County. We're over there somewhere. Yay! I serve as the Events and Education Coordinator. And today we definitely want to start off. Can we just give a wonderful round of applause for Eden Street Church here today for hosting us and having us? Yay! We are so excited that we all get to come here out of the rain, right? It was a great rain plan, amen. And so thank you guys again for being here. We are so very thankful also to the Justice Center, EveryChildNC. Can we also give them a round of applause for organizing and putting this together? Thank you guys so much for every partner that is here represented today. We just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And to everyone else, we just say welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you guys so much for being here, ready to take a part, be a part. We have some goodies for our kids in this moment over in the corner, all the way in the back, as I just stated, for like an hour. We'll have some face painting. So if you want to get your kiddies over there to get their face paint done, that's perfectly great. There's a craft table right over here in this corner if you want to get your kids over here to do some craft. We also have postcards so you can write your senators and those representatives about the issues that we are here for today. And I will pass it on. Thank you.
Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Jair Castellanos. Yo soy un defensor con la colección de Cada Niño NC. Le queremos dar las bienvenidas a todos. Les agradecemos por venir y acompañarnos hoy. Como dijo mi compañera Shalonda, le queremos agradecer a la iglesia por tenernos aquí en este día. También al resto del equipo por ayudar a organizar esta oportunidad. Estamos aquí para la oportunidad de cada niño, así que estamos aquí para apoyar el derecho de la educación básica a cada niño del estado de Carolina del Norte. Así que les agradecemos por estar aquí con nosotros. Tenemos estaciones en diferentes partes del cuarto. En esta parte tenemos para colorear para los niños, tenemos pancartas ahí para los adultos, y atrás en la esquina también tenemos para colorear las caras con pintura, y después tenemos en medio a Book Harvest, que nos están dando libros gratis para todos. Así que disfruten el evento y queremos que compartan con nosotros este día. Así que now I'm going to be passing it over to Danielle Caldwell, who's going to be doing our land acknowledgement. Gracias.
Good morning. We want to do a land acknowledgement. As we gather here in this space, we have to remember that this place that we call Wake County was first the land of the indigenous people. So I would like for you to stand up right now. As we have the agency to advocate for ourselves, and we know that we are fighting for our God-given rights, let's remember the indigenous people who first suffered the same things that we are fighting for right now. So what I'm going to do is just a little example of something that I was taught by Miss Aya Shabu, and she got it from Baba Chuck, who is the founder of the African American Dance Ensemble. And so before I call out the names of the indigenous people and the tribes that occupied this space before it was colonized, I want you to put your hand to your heart, raise it to the sky, and those of you who can, just touch the earth or motion to the earth. know that this land that we occupy now, that we live on, that we work, that we grow, was not ours first. So as we fight for our rights, we want to acknowledge that the land that we sit on was home to the Tuscarora tribe, the Catawba tribe, the Siouan, and each had its own unique culture. So as we fight for LGBTQ rights, know that the dominant culture has always been marginalized. Well, not that it's been marginalized, that the indigenous people have been marginalized. So as we fight for these rights, we want to take a moment of silence and remember the first people who were colonized, and know that we are not alone as we fight these fights for the human rights, the right to live the way we want to live, and that we do not have to be marginalized into a status quo. So I thank all of you for coming out today, and let's take a moment of silence as we remember the indigenous people who first occupied this land. Thank you.
Thank you all. And now coming to the stage, we will have Mr. Marcus Bass, who will be introducing our very first speaker. Thank you.
Y'all give a round of applause to Miss Yolanda. Hey, come on now. Listen, it's the summertime. How many people glad to be out of school right now? Make some noise if you're glad to be out of school. All right. All right. All right. Listen, we're going to have fun today. This is about every single one of us here working together to make sure that we have the resources we need for whenever it's time to go back to school, we can be successful. How many young people in here want to be successful? Raise your hand. All right, now, let's do a sound check. We did a room check. We acknowledged the land. Now I want to do a check for our children. How many people? Let's check in with our children. Where are my high school students at? Well, if you're in high school, oh, don't do that. Come on now. Seniors, juniors, freshmen, stand up. Where y'all at? Everybody make some noise for our high school students. That's right. That's right. Okay, where we going next? Where are our middle schoolers at? Middle schoolers, where you at? Come on, stand up, middle school. Don't be too cool for middle school. That's right. Good, good. All right, now, where are the elementary school students at? Where you at? Yeah, elementary? Yeah. Come here. Tell everybody your name.
My name's Salem.
And what school do you go to?
I go to Fuller Elementary.
Give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. You can go back and have a seat. Thank you so much. All right, now, my favorite. Where are the preschoolers? Yeah, preschool. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, preschool. Yeah. All right. Where my daycare babies at? Where my daycare babies? All right, daycare. All right. Any homeschoolers in the building? Okay, a couple of claps. All right, we're going to get you into public schools. Don't worry. This is what this is all about. We're making sure we one family. Listen, the summer is the perfect time for us all to be together in this space. And the people that you're going to hear from today have been fighting every single day since you've been in school. And now that you're out of school, you get to learn a lot about what's happening outside the classroom to make sure we have all the resources we need. Now, one of the gentlemen that I'm about to introduce to you today, he is a champion. Somebody say champion. Champion. What does it mean to be a champion for public schools? I'm going to tell you what. This young man, he went to elementary school, middle school, high school, right here in North Carolina. Then he went to college. And when he went to college, he decided to become an attorney. Now, everybody knows what a teacher does, but attorneys make sure that we have the laws on the books to make sure that everybody can have an equal, equitable education. So regardless of where we are in the state, we can learn together, grow together, and thrive together. And this gentleman that I'm about to introduce to you has fought inside the courtroom. He's fought all across the state, all across the country. And guess where he's from? Anybody from Robeson County here? Let me hear Robeson County in the building. Let's give a warm round of applause to attorney, education advocate, Mr. Angus Thompson in the building. Yeah, I got you.
Drop that right there.
Yes, sir.
Well, good morning, we the people. You know, I was so impressed when I came up to this, drove up to this edifice. But the first thing that I saw that really impressed me was were some books to my left as I entered the building. And it said, you can take a book or you could bring a book. And I just was so impressed when I saw that, and I stopped and I looked at some of the books, the titles on the books, so that I know that I'm in a place that appreciates education. And thank you. Look. I want to say to the pastor of this church, Pastor Rockefeller, I think it is it? For allowing us to assemble here. You know, I really am excited. It may not seem like it because I'm a little out of breath, but I'll catch my breath before I finish. The next thing I noticed since I've been here is when we were raising our hands in honor and in recognition of the Native American population, and we do have a Native American population in Robeson County. I saw a little young man over there in front of me and said, "Raise your hand." And he was eating some ice cream or something, I don't know, but he stopped eating his ice cream, whatever he was eating, and raised his hand. And then she said, "Lower your hands and point to the earth." And he lowered his hands and he pointed to the earth. All I know is that that young man one day is going to be somewhere that will be moving people, will be representing the kind of people that we see here today. Now, I know I was introduced as an attorney, and I tell you, I see 12 people and a lot of alternates, jurors. More alternates than I ever seen. But I was thinking about a client of mine that he said, by the way, I'm a retired public defender and I'm a trial lawyer, and I tried cases in Superior Court jury trials. And he said, "Mr. Thompson," he said, Attorney Thompson, he said, "I know this is going to be a hard case." And I said, "Yes, it is." I said, "We need to see what we can work out with this case. I don't know whether we need to try this case or not." And he said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, I think your chances of getting a conviction are pretty high." And he said, what do I do?" And I said, "Well, we might need to try to take a plea bargain." And he said, A plea bargain? He said, well, he said, does that mean I'm going to serve any time, Mr. Thompson? I said, well, look. He said, look, I know you're a good lawyer. You're a good lawyer. I said, look, let me tell you. All I can say is if you get any time, I believe I can shorten your stay. Now, folks, we got some folks over in the General Assembly, and we need to shorten their stay. You know, I want you to remember the date 1868. I want you to remember the date 1994. 1868 was when our North Carolina Constitution, after the Civil War, was adopted. And you're going to hear that date again later on. 1994 was when the Leandro lawsuit was filed. I was an original plaintiff, as well as my daughter, who was in the 7th or 8th grade then. That started the litigation and continued the conversation about equity in education. There were 5 counties, low-wealth counties, the poorest counties in the state: Vance County, Halifax County, Hope County, Robeson County, and Cumberland County, that brought that lawsuit. And we brought the lawsuit because we were low wealth. We could not afford to give our children a sound basic education. Now it's 29 years later, and we've been through litigation. We've been through legislation every year. These folks up in Raleigh, they go over there and they pass laws and budgets, whether it's the short or long term, and we're still in the fight. Now, I want you to remember, for those who remembered my comments last summer, folks, the fight goes on. And what we're going to have to do, if you remember, we're going to what? Protest and rally. For those who know the words of prayer, we're going to pray. And we're going to what? Vote. Let's say it. We're going to protest. We're going to pray. And we're going to vote. And we're going to shorten some stays over there in that General Assembly. I just want to end by saying that today I'm in Raleigh, and I'm a member of the Sandy Grove Baptist Church in Lumberton, North Carolina. The chairman of my deacon board is being eulogized today at my church at 11 o'clock. And I told his widow and his family that I would be here in honor of him and his love for children, his love for education. He finished the public schools of Robeson County. He was valedictorian of his class, Littlefield High School. And he always said that he worked hard, and he encouraged people to work hard, study hard, and stay determined because he talked about how the public schools afforded him an opportunity after being valedictorian to go to A&T, got a full ride at A&T State University. And, but in leaving, I want to say this, why I really want to honor him and why I'm here, as opposed to being there, is because I know he loved children. Maybe 10 or so years ago, the public schools of Robeson County, the administration did not have enough money to have a summer school for our children. There was no summer school for elementary, middle school, or high school, or junior high school students. And this gentleman, James Moore, said, look, we got to do something. We've got to have a program for the remediation. Some of these kids need remediation, and they need enrichment activities this summer. There was no summer school, and the reason there was no summer school was because there was no lack of money to have summer school. And that's where we are today. You know, a lack of money because, not because we don't have it, but because they won't give it up. And so I'm here today because I'm with advocates and partners who I know love education, and I know he loves education. And he's gone on to the other side. But we are here on this side. And I want to say this as I take my seat. Be encouraged. You know, I'm an optimist. As bad as it is, we're going to win. We're going to win. Two things. I was taught that when Pharaoh's heart is hardened, his army drowns in the Red Sea. I was also taught by a guy named Pat Steele. I sold books with Southwestern Company out of Nashville during the summer. And a salesman, you know, you've always got to be encouraged. And if you're up to your head in a room with hockey, just keep digging, because there's a pony in there somewhere.
All right, thank you so much. Now we will have our student advocate, Emerson Pope. Yay!
Does it stand? Can I go? Where should I? Yeah, is it tight enough? Hi, my name is Emerson. I'm autistic, and I'm a student at Reedy Creek Middle School in Wake County. I think public schools should be funded. When you fund public schools, you get more resources for more people. I need resources to help me go through school. I need speech therapists when I was younger. No, I'm sorry I phrased that. I need speech therapists. When I was younger, I used OT services. I really appreciate having one-on-one aid. Sadly, not all kids get that kind of help. That's why we need to fund our schools. In the past, I had lots of trouble in school. I didn't have the assistance I needed, and the staff weren't well educated in what I needed. Having a certified, well-trained teacher makes my life better. By the way, only public schools give us all these three services. North Carolina needs public schools right now.
Yay. Lovely. And now from Equality, North Carolina, we will have Rebby Kern.
My eyes are still all teared up from all of the amazing speeches already this morning. Cheers, Emerson. I see you, and I'm glad that you're here today. My name is Rebby. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs, and I'm an advocate for transgender and LGBTQ youth, adults, families. Oh, okay. And I appreciate so much being a part of the EveryChildNC coalition and being able to show up with you and naming the fight that we get to make together. I'm so happy to see all of the littles here, all of the families, all of the advocates. So many of us are like, this is our first time meeting in person, but we've been organizing for 3 years together. So I appreciate that so much. I had a few minutes of things written prepared for today, and late last night we're analyzing some new introductions of bills that are impacting us, impacting the community. And it comes back down to the same attacks from funding, from censoring our classroom materials, from trying to enforce that our families need to look one certain kind of way, all the way into how our young people are getting services, much like what Emerson just named. And yet all of these end up behind so many barriers, so many extra steps, so many permissions, that we have to continue digging in just to have our bare minimum met. And so my colleagues and I are gonna go over next door and continue to listen in onto these treacherous attacks to tell kids that having two moms is wrong. Somehow these legislators think that transgender kids having their names and pronouns honored in school is bad. And the attack on funding in schools, as well as the censorship that we're seeing across race, gender identity, and sexual orientation, is all coming together to try to tell us that we're wrong, but we are not. We are here, this is our space, and we're gonna continue showing up in every single way that we can. Yeah. And so keep showing up, keep showing out with us, contact your legislators, but most of all, remember your joy. The energy that I feel in this space is so healing because we're here together. And this is going to be the greatest thing for us to remember, to see 30 years into the future and be like, remember what we did in 2023? Yeah, we did that. So thank you for joining this fight with us. We love you.
Mic check, 1, 2. Woo! So, thank you for having me. My name is Destiny Stone. I'm originally from Mississippi, Holly Springs to be exact. But I got here by way of Catawba College in Salisbury, North Carolina. And after I graduated, I just decided to stay around. So yeah, here I am. And I'm a former elementary and middle school music teacher. So music is pretty much all I do every day, all day. So I'm gonna just sing a few songs. Vibe with me. This is a rally, so this is not an opera. You do not have to sit there and be still and be quiet, okay? Right, you can make some noise. Yeah. Ooh, three little birds sat on my window, and they told me I don't need to worry. 'Cause summer came like cinnamon, so sweet. Little girls double dutch on the concrete. Hey, and maybe sometimes we feel afraid, but it's alright. The more things stay the same, the more they seem to change. Oh, don't you hesitate, girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. Just go ahead and let your head down. Y'all know the song. And sci-fi and faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead and let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow. I think we got it now, right? Yeah. Blue as the sky, sunburnt and lonely, sipping tea in a bar by the roadside. Da 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 da. And don't you let the other boys fool you. You gotta love that Afro hairdo. Yeah. And maybe sometimes we get it wrong, but it's alright. The more we hesitate, the more things seem to change. Here we go. Don't you think it's strange? Girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. Just go ahead, let your head down. Hey, sci-fi and faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow. Yeah. Ooh. Thank you. Thank you. Again, my name is Destiny Stone, so if you want to follow me on social media, you can. It's Destiny Stone Music everywhere. So I'm also a songwriter, and I wrote this little song, and I call it an ode to teachers. And during my time as a teacher in the public school system for 4 years, I learned that it was very bittersweet, you know? You have those days when you feel like you're on top of the world, and you have those days where you really want to quit. And so I kind of wanted to write a song about that. I lost my earring, and I can't even find it. Oh, and I'm late for work. I got stuck in some traffic. Na 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 na. And my kids acting up. Said I can't even teach them nothing. Oh, this is based on a true story. And my coworker, y'all, he wanna crack jokes that ain't even funny. Da 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 da. But I'm tired, y'all. I don't even wanna cook no dinner. Oh, and I ain't got nothing set out. I ain't even got no love for my husband. Oh, and I just got an email that we got another meeting. Oh, and I don't even make enough, no. I don't even make enough for vacation. But welcome to my world, where my job is to shape futures. I like this part right here. It says, I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. I think Whitney Houston said, well, I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. So welcome to my world, where it is my job is to shape futures. Thank you. I'm gonna do one more, if that's okay. Is that all right? So in February, I released a new song called They Got Nothing on You. And I know some days we feel horrible, especially as educators. Some days we really question, am I really doing the right thing? You know, should I be doing something else? But when you listen to this song, at least for those 3 minutes, I want you to feel on top of the world. I want you to feel like you can conquer anything, you can do anything. And as the song says, they got nothing on you, okay? Again, my name is Destiny Stone. Thank you guys for having me. I've definitely enjoyed being here. Thank you. Woo! Also, make sure you check out the music video. It features some of my middle schoolers. They did such a good job. It's on YouTube. Can you turn me up just a little bit? The darker the berry, the sweeter will be its juice. And the magic you possess inside you, they have no clue. And when they laugh, you can take those grins and turn them into all the trophies you'll win. They got nothing on you. 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 And you ain't gotta lie to yourself, 'cause you're the better you than anyone else. They got nothing on you. They got nothing on you. Listen, so kill them with kindness and see that they can't relate. Well, 'cause it's real hard to love you, so when you got so much hate, and just remember, let your little light shine. Don't you try to keep your colors in the line. They got nothing on you. Woo! They got nothing on you. You can snap your fingers if you want to. They got nothing on you. See, y'all got it already. It's real simple, right? And you ain't gotta lie to yourself, 'cause you're the better you than anyone else. They got nothing on you. They got nothing. I think we got it this time. They got nothing on you. There you go. They got nothing on you. And you ain't gotta lie to yourself, 'cause you're the better you than anyone together. Here we go. They got nothing on you.
They got nothing on you.
Hey, oh, they got nothing on you.
They got nothing on you. And you ain't gotta lie to yourself, 'cause you're the better you than anyone else. They got nothing on you. They got nothing on you.
All right, can we give it up one more time for Miss Destiny Stone? Yay! Okay. We know that we are just a little bit behind time, but we are gonna keep things moving. Next up, we will have Miss Tamika Walker Kelly from NCAE. Yay! Give it up, guys! Yay, yay!
All right, so hello everyone, good morning. Shout out to the music teachers. I am Tamika Walker Kelly, elementary music teacher from Cumberland County. And proud president of the North Carolina Association of Educators, NCAE. I am so thrilled to see such a beautiful representation of North Carolina here in this room today, and thrilled that you all are here to show your support for our students and our public school professionals as we fight for a budget that puts public education first. That's right, that's right. So everyone, our state budget is not just a mathematical document of figures and numbers. It is a representation of our values in this state. And we all share a common goal: improving the outcomes and achievement of every single student in our state, and ensuring that our students have a qualified educator in every classroom. Now, unfortunately, we know time and time again that our General Assembly continues to fail to meet the moment and the critical need to fully fund our public schools and provide the resources that our professionals and our students need to succeed. So here's what we need. We need a state budget that invests in the lasting change needed to fund the futures of North Carolina students. That's what we need. We need a budget that ensures that every single student, no matter where they live or what they look like, has what they need to succeed. Now, what we have right now is a House and Senate budget proposal that continues to expand private school vouchers. That's right, y'all can boo in his, it's okay. It creates two taxpayer-funded systems, one public and one private. But let's be real clear, people. There is no evidence that voucher programs actually improve student performance. Instead, these vouchers take our scarce resources from our public schools, where the majority of our working families send their children to learn and grow. But every student in our state deserves access to an education that instills a love of learning and the skills that prepare them for the future. And that's not happening for every student right now in North Carolina. Instead, special interest groups have helped create a system that prioritizes tax cuts for the wealthy at the expense of our public school students. Now, you also know we are experiencing an unprecedented staffing shortage of more than 5,000 vacancies. But corporations have more power and they pay less in taxes. So instead of addressing this crisis, our General Assembly is on the verge of expanding a voucher program that would benefit those who already have the most in our state. Expanding opportunity scholarships to families who can already afford many opportunities and send their children to private schools with no accountability measures in place. So, what can we do? Well, I'm sure that all of you in this room already know that public education is a constitutional right in this state. But most importantly, it is also a moral obligation for our children. Our public schools are open to all people, no matter their zip code, no matter their religion, no matter their race, gender, sexual orientation, abilities, or how much money they have. Our public schools are the foundation of our democracy. And so at this moment, while our special interest groups are working to divide us amongst our differences, we also must be working. We must speak up and make sure that our lawmakers know that we don't want two separate and unequal systems. We want one strong public school system for the state of North Carolina. Our students deserve so much better. We, as North Carolinians, deserve so much better. So now is the time. You are not passive bystanders. You need to call your superintendent. You need to talk to your state representatives. And you need to let them know the harm that the expansion of private school vouchers will do to our school districts. Because ultimately, we are stronger together and we can make our voices heard. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce from my hometown of Fayetteville, North Carolina, Mariah Manley, who is a student activist from Cumberland County.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mariah Manley, and I'm a proud North Carolina public school graduate. I was born and raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and received my K-12 education in Cumberland County. The many accomplishments and achievements that I have would not be possible without public schools, and today I am here to tell you about them. I went to a public elementary school where they had a Spanish immersion program, and through that program, I became fluent in Espanol at the age of 10. I also picked up my first instrument, the viola, in 5th grade and currently can still play. I went to a public middle school where I learned the importance of the arts. Was able to join my middle school chorus, sing on the county level, and learn how to play chess at the age of 12. I went to a public high school and early college and was able to experience more benefits of public education. I played 2 sports, varsity women's soccer and women's golf, at my home school, and was able to join many organizations such as Key Club, where I was treasurer, and Student Government Association as the senior class president. The public school education that I received is the reason why I graduated valedictorian of my senior class. And with over 80 college credits. Currently, I am a research intern for Public Schools First NC, a nonprofit organization that believes in and advocates for public schools. And because of my internship, I have learned and know that saying no to private school vouchers is the right way to go. Private schools are not required to serve free or reduced lunch or provide special education services, which means that private schools support discrimination. And as someone whose homeschool is E.E. Smith High School and has a 62% eligibility for free and reduced lunch, I am shocked. My mother is a public school teacher on the high school level and has had to do a background check for employment, but private school teachers do not have to undergo that, which means the safety of students is not a major concern. Private schools do not have to provide transportation for students, which is also discrimination based on economic background. How can people campaign and advocate that these private schools are our way for low-income children to escape failing schools, but not provide a way for children to arrive at these schools? Our public schools provide equity with race, ethnicity, economic background, disability, sexual orientation, and language. Instead of individuals trying to get rid of our public schools, they should be helping our public schools. The money that is being poured into private schools should be poured into our public schools. Our public school teachers should be paid more. Our public school students should be receiving that money, and we should not let these vouchers steal children's education that was created to support and help them to pursue their future dreams. I am now at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, receiving my Bachelor's of Science in Health Systems Management and minoring in Public Health and Spanish. I am in the University Honors Program and 2 honors fraternities, one in which I am an initiate advisor, a certified mentor, a note taker for the Office of Disabilities, and currently have a 4.0 GPA. All of these accomplishments and achievements would not be possible without North Carolina public schools. Thank you.
Yay, yay. All right, and now from Common Cause, we will have my friend Gino. Yay, everybody give her a round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. They usually never let me talk to this many people at once, so someone made a mistake. We'll try to finish before they kick me off. Good morning, my name is Gino Nuzlillo. I work with Common Cause North Carolina, and our mission, oh, thank you, yeah, a little round of applause. Thank you. And our mission is to fight for the truly multiracial and inclusive democracy that North Carolina deserves. And Ms. Tamika Walker-Kelly said it best, that public schools are the foundation of democracy, and it's worth saying again. But we aren't the only ones who have said this in the past. Now, when I went through public schools, history was my favorite subject. It's what I studied in college, and I know not everyone loves history, but we're gonna take a little history walk, a little history lesson with me, and I hope you'll join me. Mr. Thompson mentioned Reconstruction. And that's important to understanding where we are now. 57,240 days ago, or 156 years, which is a little bit easier to think of, just a few blocks down from where we are, over 100 recently freed men who were formerly slaves in North Carolina met in 1866 for what was known as the Freedmen's Convention. And at the Freedmen's Convention that took place on October 2nd through the 5th of 1866, they were doing so in a moment where the 13th Amendment had passed, but the meaning of what freedom was still contested and unclear. And so in an act of hope and faith, they met at what is now St. Paul AME Church to issue a call for 3 things that they envisioned as the future of democracy and freedom in North Carolina. They called for, of course, public education. They said that the goal of this convention is that everyone would go home to all 60 counties they were representing at the time and open schools where none shall be denied on the account of color or the account of poverty. Just what we're fighting for right now. They also, that's right, they also demanded the vote. Because of course, the right to vote, to have your voice heard in democracy, and they also demanded land, economic ownership over their future. They saw the three as interconnected, that to have freedom, you needed land, you needed the vote, and you needed public education. They were fighting for what W.E.B. Du Bois called abolition democracy. Not just democracy for a few, not just democracy for those who had land, but the creation of a racially just society where all could participate. Say with me, abolition democracy. That was the charge in 1866. And just like the EveryChildNC coalition does now, their charge was that the real work was not the convention, it was to build local grassroots solidarity and networks in every county of this state. And so I'd say that all of you have followed that charge and lived up to that charge, haven't you? Oh, come on, have you? Yes, you have. That's right. Now, the thing I want to say to close this out is that they met in 1866, and just 2 years later, they passed the Reconstruction Constitution of North Carolina in 1868. 1868. That's right. Now, in 2023, we're still here. Inexplicably, or maybe explicably. And at the same time as they continued their war on public education, the North Carolina General Assembly is considering two bills that the state Senate will vote on today that will dramatically restrict access to the vote and representation that we deserve, the representation that would fully fund public education in this state. And so the reason I'm here and that I'm grateful to be invited is that much like in 1866, when the meaning of freedom was contested, was unclear, but there was a clear vision for moving forward, that meant solidarity in the trenches between those who fought for democracy and those who fought for public education, and saw that they were not different, that they were one and the same. So thank you very much for having me here, and thank you for the rest of the day.
Ooh, okay. Now, sorry, we're going to get back in order. We have Mr. Todd Warren from Heal Together, North Carolina, and Public School Strong. Yay!
Good morning. Getting close to afternoon, I need to check my parking. I really want to say thank you to EveryChildNC for bringing together all these partner organizations, not just for the Leander fight, which is now 2 decades strong and running. A shameful thing to say for North Carolina that we have not been able to get funding for a sound basic education for over 2 decades with a legislature that just seems to obey laws at will. But it's hard for me to be here today and not be angry, but then I see you. And I know that you're angry with me. And I, again, salute EveryChildNC for sounding the alarm on this private school voucher expansion, where somehow North Carolina, where they cannot find money for a sound basic education for our public schools, has rich people money for rich people's schools. Those are our dollars. My name is Todd Warren. I'm a public school parent. I'm a former K-5 public school educator, and now I work with Heal Together North Carolina Public School Coalition with organizations and folks that have been up here on the stage across the state. We came together alarmed at what we were seeing happening at our school board meetings. And I think you know what I mean, the anti-CRT rhetoric, the anti-mask, the anti-LGBTQ, anti-everything. But we looked around and said, wait a minute, we don't think this represents the majority of people in North Carolina. We honestly don't. And as we did our research and we looked and saw that there was a very well-funded, top-down, from Fox News on down, effort to turn out what is really a minority of people creating fear about public schools for things that people that attend public schools every day are not worried about. People that we talk to every day are worried about their child getting picked up on time. They're worried about having high-quality AP course offerings in their district. They're worried about where are their teachers going. And so we're working in a very much just an organizer, each one, teach one, county by county effort with the shirt that I'm wearing today, Public School Strong, just to make sure that the majority is showing up at school board meetings and saying what we need and what we want. And sounding the alarm that if we do not stop this private school voucher expansion, we're going to start to lose services in our schools at a rate that we've never lost them before. We've gone through 2 decades of cuts we can't take anymore. And we know as we work with people, we know it's truly a majority of people that choose zero tuition community schools with high quality academics. It's a majority of people that chose fully staffed, robust, free transportation services for all students regardless of zip codes. We have chosen again and again public education systems that have full wraparound services, whether you're a student that needs an occupational therapist like I would often see when I taught elementary school, or whether you're someone like my child that just graduated with a 2-year associate's degree for free from the local community college as a senior in high school. You cannot get that with private school dollars, with our public school dollars being diverted to private schools. Our rural communities do not even have the private schools to spend these dollars on. So we need to call it what it is. These are scam schools, it's a shell game, and that the majority of people actually support robust, fully funded, honest, equitable, safe, fully funded education in North Carolina. But we're the majority, but we've got to be organized. And we have to make our voices heard. I've heard people say at the ballot box, but right now, in the next year, we are really going to need our school boards and superintendents to be brave. And I appreciate Governor Cooper's state of emergency, called a state of emergency for our school boards, and I looked at his press release last week, and I see that already something like 12 or 15 school districts have passed vouchers opposing these private school vouchers. We can do this. That's incredible that we already have 12 to 15 school districts. The rest are going to need a little push, and they're going to need a little push from people like you. The last thing I'll say is, as we're getting ready to move forward and go to our school board meetings and let them know the services that we want to be fully funded, the services that we want them to keep, that we demand that they keep. We're showing up in these shirts. We're Public School Strong. You can get one of these shirts by attending one of our trainings. All you have to do is Google Public School Strong Training, July 17th. We'll send you a shirt, and then you can show up and post your picture on Facebook, show up in the newspaper, and just say, look, we need public dollars to stay in public schools. We've been saying it, but we're going to say it across 37, 38 counties we're in right now, and by the end of the year, we need to be in all 100. Together we can do this. I know we can. We've done it before. We can do it again. Let's go, North Carolina.
All right, thank you, thank you, thank you. Public School Strong. All right, next from San Brando Raíces, we will have Jacquelina Urbano.
Buenos días a todos, señores representantes. Mi nombre es Jacquelina Urbano. y soy parte de un grupo de padres latinos que están trabajando fuertemente para apoyar a nuestros hijos e hijas en su educación.
Good morning to all the representatives. My name is Jacqueline Urbano, and I am part of a group of parents, Latino parents, that is working really hard to be able to support our sons and daughters' education.
Nosotros les garantizamos que como padres estamos haciendo nuestro trabajo, preparando a nuestros hijos para que cada día lleguen a la escuela listos para aprender.
We guarantee you that we are working really, really hard to make sure that our children are prepared every single day to be ready to learn at school.
Nosotros los elegimos a ustedes para que hagan un trabajo específico, mantener la calidad de vida de los ciudadanos de Carolina del Norte, utilizando los impuestos que pagamos para el bien de sus ciudadanos, no para subsidiar entidades privadas.
We elected our public officials to do one very specific task, and that is to maintain the quality of life of citizens of North Carolina using our tax money that each one of us as citizens have paid into the system, and that is not money to be subsidizing private entities.
El dinero público pertenece a las instituciones públicas.
Public money belongs to public institutions.
Les exigimos que le entreguen los 106.6 millones de dólares del caso Leandro a las escuelas públicas de Durham para que puedan tener los recursos necesarios para apoyar a nuestros hijos desde su edad temprana hasta su graduación de la preparatoria.
We demand that the $106.6 million from the Leandro case be given back to the Durham Public Schools so we can have the necessary resources to support our children's education from an early age to high school graduation.
Las escuelas privadas generan sus propios fondos. Ellos no necesitan ser subsidiados con el sudor de nuestras frentes.
Private schools have their own funding. They generate their own money. They don't need to be subsidized by the work of our hard-earned labor.
Para educar a un estudiante se necesita un promedio de $15,000 por año. Sus vales no son para la clase trabajadora. Nosotros vivimos de cheque a cheque y no tenemos acceso a fondos adicionales para cubrir el restante del dinero necesario para ir a una escuela privada de buena calidad. Estos bonos solo beneficiarían a familias afluentes que ya tienen los fondos suficientes para asistir a escuelas privadas.
On average, it takes $15,000 a year to educate a child. So these vouchers are not for the working class because we're living paycheck to paycheck. We don't have additional funding to be able to cover the remaining balance to be able to go to these private schools. So these vouchers are really going to only benefit the wealthy, people that already have enough money to be able to go to private schools.
Las escuelas que prometen educar a un niño con menos de $10,000 al año son un fraude. Solo buscan beneficiarse del dinero público.
And those schools that are promising to educate a child for less than $10,000, they're just a fraud. They're just trying to get access to this public funding.
Nuevamente les pedimos que entreguen el dinero de Leandro a las escuelas públicas para que puedan hacer su trabajo, educar a todos los niños de Carolina del Norte y que eliminen el programa de vales para subsidiar instituciones privadas. Nos vemos en las urnas electorales.
So again, we ask that the Leandro money be given back to the public schools so that we can do the job of educating every child in North Carolina, and that they eliminate the voucher program to finance private institutions. See you at the ballot box.
Gracias por invitarnos y ser parte de esta abogacía.
Thank you for inviting me to be part of this important day.
Yes, you at the ballot box. All right. Next, we will have from Creed, North Carolina, Jerry Wilson.
All right, how y'all doing? Are y'all fired up? All right, I am too. I won't hold you long. I just have a few things that I want to share with you. I'm from CREED, the Center for Racial Equity in Education, and we recently polled North Carolina voters to find out what they think about private school vouchers. If you want to find the full poll, go look at that poster over there against the wall. We have a summary there. You can scan the QR code and get access to the entire poll to find out what you already know. Right? So, just to summarize 3 big points from our poll. 59% of North Carolina voters oppose private school vouchers on principle. That is, we don't agree that public school dollars should go to subsidize private education. That's not what we want. 83% of voters, an overwhelming majority, believe that private schools that get taxpayer funding should make their test scores public, the same way that our public schools do. We need accountability for private schools. What happens when we don't have accountability for private schools? We're seeing it, right? There was recently a report that came out that said that there were 62 instances where schools, private schools receiving voucher money had more vouchers than they had students enrolled. Right? How does that happen? And the folks in the General Assembly have been saying that, well, parents will be the ultimate accountability. If the private school isn't working for their kid, they'll take them out. How will parents know if they don't release their test score data? How will the public hold them accountable if we don't know, right? And the last point that I want to share is, we asked voters directly, would you rather invest additional money into public schools, Leandro, or would you rather spend more money on private school vouchers? 59% of voters in North Carolina support spending more money and resources into our public schools. So I'm left with this question. If voters want more resources invested into our public schools, why are lawmakers trying to expand private school vouchers? Well, the obvious reason is they don't represent us. They don't represent us. They represent moneyed interests and people who do not have our best interests at heart. And the other reason that lawmakers are trying to expand this program that nobody knows about and nobody wants is because they think that we're fools. They're holding up these vouchers and saying, don't you want to send your kid to a private school? It's a private school. But we know that that's fool's gold. That's fool's gold. We don't want that fool's gold. Tell them they can keep that fool's gold. We know that our public schools are priceless. That's what we want, is our public schools funded because they are priceless. Thank you.
Yeah, so everyone be sure to go and scan the QR code, get some of those facts. And next up, we will have Amira Butterfly Cruz, our student advocate. Yay! Everybody give it up, a little bit better than that.
Hey everyone. Before I start off, I just want to thank everybody for coming. It's nice to see y'all faces. I'm not from here, so it's nice to see something new you know, this for me, even though it's an hour, it's traveling for me. I want to thank God for another day and this opportunity. Oh, hold on, let me fix this. Y'all know I'm a little short. Okay. Hello, my name is Amira, but I go by Butterfly. I am an honor roll student at R.J. Reynolds High School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I didn't mean to say that. I'm going to be in the 11th grade next year, and I want to attend college to be a sign language interpreter, and I want to go to be a veterinarian so I can help families and their animals in their household live a long, healthy, flourishing life. Today I'm here to talk about the importance of supporting public schools and a little of my own experience with school. Education is important. Definitely if you have goals such as college, being a better citizen, and even getting a better paid job. Public school is affordable, and even if you have low wealth, a lot of times education could lead to scholarships and your kids' talents and accomplishments being recognized. My experience with public school is good. I feel like I meet the most weirdest, most sweetest people, and I have good grades that I try to maintain, and the classes aren't too hard. We do need more computer charges and maybe even some textbooks. I feel as if kids would take advantage if we had new technology and maybe even learn from it. With generations and generations to come, we need more resources. It's important for the government to fund public schools so that way kids can go to school without having to pay thousands of dollars. This lets kids have their own experience with society and finding your own self and sense of identity. And you learn how to maintain emotions. My name is Amira, and hopefully I see change whether I'm in school while the change is happening or out of school, as long as we have justice for generations and generations to come. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. And from Action for Equity, the Reverend Paul Robinson Ford. Yay.
Why don't you give it up for Butterfly again? She did such an excellent job. We were so happy to bring her with us today. I stand before you as the son of my late mother who taught public school in New York City for over 35 years in Brooklyn, Harlem, and the South Bronx. She did it because she understood it out of a sense of mission, to work with all of our children. I also come to you from Forsyth County, North Carolina, which as of last Tuesday, the Winston-Salem Forsyth County School Board adopted the voucher resolution opposing these voucher bills. We are proud of this work. And I want to just take a minute and take you back a little further in the history than Brother Gino did. And to understand that public schools have always been part of a dream of democracy in this country. I want to take you back to the early 1800s, the days when the abolitionist Horace Mann was teaching and preaching that public schools, fully funded, fully supported public schools, were a key to sustaining democracy in this country. Because he understood and he said, we can only remain ignorant and free, but for so long. And so if we wanted to maintain democracy in this country, we had to have a strong public education program. If we wanted to address the way out of poverty, if we wanted to address the root causes of the issues that lead to crime, we had to have strong public schools. This is not a new idea. This idea was part of the birth of democracy at a time in this world when democracy was a new thing and a fragile thing. We know 200 years later, democracy is a fragile thing in this country. And our democracy will not be sustained by taking taxpayer dollars to give money to schools that serve the few that serve predominantly the white, that serve predominantly the privileged, instead of using those dollars to fund schools that serve the many. Every dream that birthed this nation was meant for us, but it was not designed with us in mind. We have fought a long time since those dreams were first birthed. We have fought through many dangers, toils, and snares, and now we stand together. We understand what it means to claim this democracy for everybody. But every time you see state legislators trying to retreat, trying to take more money and send it to these private schools, we have to understand they are betraying the dream. They are betraying the dream. It was astonishing to me to have a local legislator in Forsyth County try to make the claim that they are not taking money from public schools because the money for these vouchers is coming from new revenues. But yet, if they were to fully fund Leandro, we're talking about over $600 million in money that needs to go to our public schools. So why would you take any new revenues and put them anywhere else but in our public schools? This is an old dream, but it is a beautiful dream. It is one that we have not yet fully lived out. But the opportunity that we have to do that is now. And so we must stay united from all over this state, fully fund Leandro, fully support our public schools so that every single public school is producing students left and right like butterfly crews. God bless you.
I was gonna try it. Okay, and our last speaker from early childhood advocate and provider is Miss Danielle Caldwell. Everyone give her a round of applause, please.
Hey y'all, what can I really say after all those speakers? But I'm gonna kind of wrap it up and connect the dots. I'm an early childhood educator and advocate, and I have been fighting for funding for early education for nearly 30 years. 30 years. And what I have seen, thank you for clapping. I mean, I wish I could come up here and report some successes, but what has happened over the past 30 years is that the funding has diminished. So if we don't want to give our children a firm foundation, you guys are asking for public funding. Well, I want us to connect the dots. They don't want to fund early education, okay? This is the same party that is about law and order, but they selectively decide what laws they want to follow through on, okay? 30 years we've been waiting for funding for Leandro. It went to the highest court in the land, and yet once again, they decide that, you know, the audacity, right? If this was any one of us, what would they do? Okay? So they don't want to fund Leandro. They don't want to give an appropriate education. Why is that? Let's connect the dots. I made some notes. Gino talked about the history, right? That right after the emancipation and Reconstruction, that they met at the AME church and they talked about how important education is. Okay, Reverend Robeson, he talked about being afforded a fair and appropriate education. But let's go back even a little bit further than that, okay? Because before African Americans were denied a public education, don't forget this system was designed that only white men, landed white men, citizens, were allowed a public education. Okay, so it wasn't, at first, it wasn't just about people of color. So let's connect the dots as we see the system beginning to reverse. Okay, so the history was that only a select few would be afforded public education. And so now we see in our state that they are defunding. Just another ploy, another tactic. Let's connect the dots. When you want to get rid of something, what do? You defund it. Okay, so we're not funding early education. Okay, we're taking funding away from public education. Let's connect the dots a little bit more. What else are we doing? We're not funding Planned Parenthood, and we're taking away a woman's right to choose. So if you don't have the right to choose whether or not you can have a child or not, okay, so you might not be able to have an abortion if that's what you choose to do, and then you don't have child care. And then you don't have education. So where does that leave you? At home, right? Women? It leaves us at home. Okay, and then we talked about the checks and the balances that are associated with vouchers. Okay, there are no checks and balances. Okay, and they don't have to release their test scores. So we know that vouchers were introduced when schools were desegregated. So if there's no checks and balances, you don't have to release your test scores, there's no accountability. So where does that leave us? Let's connect the dots, okay? And then Jack talked about, was it Jack? Let's see. No, Todd talked about the top-down approach, okay, and how these special interests are really responsible for the defunding of education. Of course, they can afford, Jacqueline said, they can afford to send their children. So we're talking about equity issues. And not only that, they are taking away our right to vote. So what does that mean? It means that we have to get organized. We have to get organized because they have taken the power away from the governor. They choose to defund the things that affect most of us. So we must get organized and hold those accountable. How many of you know the names of the elected officials that are proposing these laws? The names and their faces, we have to hold them accountable. We have to come together, connect the dots, because they're really not that hard to connect. This has been a systematic approach to disenfranchise not just people of color, but it's the rich against the poor now. It is the rich against the poor. And I urge you, as I'm getting a signal to hurry up, I urge you to stay connected because they have stacked the deck against us. Vouchers are about segregation. Not just segregating black from white, segregating the rich from the poor. Okay? If you don't want to give kids an early start, what do? You defund early education. Okay? So I urge you, let this not be the last time that we come together. Know who we are putting into office. They have so many different tactics. Okay, we have Democrats that are not Democrats anymore. And let it not be about Democrats and Republicans, because it was a Democrat who decided to push a motion to defund Leandro. Okay, so it has to be about what we are going to do and who we are going to hold accountable. So as you go out, I am giving you a charge. Know who your elected officials are. Put them on blast. Those of us who know how to use social media, put them on blast. Some of these people are in the poorest counties in North Carolina. North Carolina is at the bottom of the nation in education. But how about this? The United States is at the bottom in education globally. Yes, let's hold them accountable. Education is the equalizing factor for economic mobility. This is not by accident. This is by design. Thank you so much. Get active, stay connected, and fight the good fight. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Now we have a spoken word performance by Cortland Gilliam of Chapel Hill. Can we give it up a little bit more? I know we're tired. Yay!
Good afternoon. I hear I'm coming before lunch, so I won't overstay. I won't overstay my welcome. My name is Cortland Gilliam. I am the Poet Laureate of Chapel Hill. I'm also an educator. I'm currently getting my PhD in a Cultural Studies and Literacies program through the School of Education at UNC Chapel Hill. And before coming to grad school, I taught elementary down in Houston, Texas for a brief stint. So I'm in this struggle with you all. I understand the challenges of being in public spaces right now, public schooling spaces, particularly in districts that don't prioritize the needs of students, families, and teachers. So the poem I'm going to share with you today comes out of a moment when I was going to start my journey in education. So this piece that I'm going to recite for you all is something that I wrote as a senior in college at UNC Chapel Hill. Before I moved down to Houston, Texas to teach, I was given this challenge, this prompt from one of my professors to write a letter or to write a poem addressing my future classroom. So this poem came out of me trying to respond to that prompt, thinking through, what my students, future students, might be experiencing in their lives in and out of school, trying to think of how to communicate who I was and share a little bit about myself with my students, while also communicating that I understood some of their experiences, but there was a lot I had to learn. There's a lot I did not know moving into that space. So this piece is entitled Great Expectations. When they told you that you weren't capable, when they said that in this life, the very span of your reach and the height of your leap would never extend beyond the 10-foot rim of a high school gym, or that your only place in this world was confined to the 5x5 confines of a space you call kitchen, I am saying, when they promised you an American dream, but handed you a lucid nightmare instead, did it leave your senses senseless? Did their words betray your psyche with Trojan horse compliments when they said things like, you're a natural athlete? Or at least you can get into any college you want because affirmative action means you don't really need to try, right? Or my personal favorite, you're like the whitest black person I know. Did the vibrations of their words sound a lot like hopelessness? Did it sound a lot like the first few seconds of silence after the thunderous crack of a gavel? Was it deafening like the cracks of whips echoing through time, echoing through minds like the creaking cracks in stairboards worn from years of facilitating other people's ascension? Tell me, when they told you you weren't capable, did it resonate with your spirit kind of like your grandmother's pension? I mean, did it feel hollow? Or instead, was it as loud and full as the laughter in your elementary school classroom after you were the one called on to read? Did this leave a bitter taste in your mouth? Was it bitter like the cold air that met your outstretched hand instead of warm flesh when you tried to introduce yourself to new neighbors with broken English but a cheerful smile? Could you smell their ignorance? Was it putrid like burning cork? Or did their verdict appear before you in the form of a report card? One littered with failing grades that seemed to reflect your teacher's efforts more than your own. Did this somehow make you think about home? I mean, in that moment, were you left feeling broken but still strong and standing? lonely yet somehow overcrowded, crippled as if by cold winter air made bearable only by the warmth of the hearts that radiated there, the hearts radiating in that space you call home. When they told you weren't capable, could you read the doubt in their stares? Could you read the doubt on their face like headlines on the evening news? Like a marquee of your family's past, present, ellipsis. Is the future a foreign concept to you? When they told you that you weren't capable, did they look or sound anything like me? A foreign but familiar face championing a mantra that one day, all children in this nation will have the opportunity to attain an excellent education. Ignorant of the fact that you might not safely make it home from school today, let alone see that seemingly storybook someday that my former colleagues at Teach for America love to call one day. Is this a not promised tomorrow to you? Or instead, is this just uncertainty you're far too accustomed to? Do the lives in your life seem to pass quicker than the second hand along its 360-degree pivot that you watch instead of math problems on the board every second period? Do you watch every second period? Do you watch the seconds pass you by? When they told you weren't capable, did they try to smooth the moment over with an awkwardly apologetic smile? Or was it more of a Simon Cowell-framed scowl with wide Paula Abdul-like eyes and shallow Randy Jackson-like praise? I'm saying when they judged you, yet failed to hand you your invitation to Hollywood, your invitation to be an American, could you feel your heart idle like frosted engines on late autumn evenings? Did you grow still in your place? If you did, the next time you look in the mirror and you look at your face, I want you to find traces of Malcolm, the ex-convict who always stood his ground but never in the middle. I want you to see him in your brow lines. I want you to see Dr. King's dream in the reflection pool of your pupils. I want you to smile in the face of adversity with all the poise, all the elegance of classic women like Billie Holiday, or contemporary classic women like Queen Bee, Beyonce. I want you to know who you hold potential to be. Know that to me, your face looks a lot like Marcus Garvey's, a lot like Shirley Chisholm's, like Nina Simone's, like Cesar Chavez, like Frida Kahlo's, like Susan B. Know that you are you. But like me, you hold potential to exceed their every single expectation. Know that overachievement is never the same as overcompensation. Know that when they told you you weren't capable, it was because they were not able to, you see. So be great, be great, be great, be great, because neither I nor this world can afford to fail you. Thank you. Thank y'all.
I was tempted to tell everyone to remain standing, but we have come to a very great, okay, so next we will have our friend Peter to come and give us a nice selection. Also, the food is here, so everyone is welcome to go ahead and start eating, and as we eat, we will be serenaded and we will be able to enjoy a very nice song by Peter. So everyone, please give him a round of applause. And as he comes along, before you all start really moving, I also want to say thank you to our partners at Book Harvest and our gracious hosts at Edenton Street Church, United Methodist Church, and pastors for North Carolina Children. Yay! Everybody please, a bigger round of applause. Yay! And also give yourselves a hand for coming out today in the nasty weather. We really appreciate you all for being here. And last but not least, we have a song by our friend Peter.
Wonderful. Sí, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Peter Rawich. Estoy aprendiendo español. Sí, me gusta escribir canciones. Espero que cantes conmigo. Hopefully someone has been passing out a songbook. It has 4 songs that I've written over the past few years about educational justice. I was going to sing the first song for you today. I can come back another day for the others. Okay. So it's been said that our Constitution guarantees a sound basic education, an opportunity to learn, to think, to ask questions, and most importantly, to lead. And I need your help on that chorus. It's in Spanish. Sounds like this. La oportunidad de aprender, la oportunidad de pensar, la oportunidad de hacer preguntas, la oportunidad de liderar. If nothing else, I hope you can sing the words, la oportunidad. If you can do the other ones, that's great. Here it is again. La oportunidad de aprender, la oportunidad de pensar, la oportunidad de hacer preguntas, la oportunidad de liderar. Great, we'll try it one more time. La oportunidad de aprender, la oportunidad de pensar, la oportunidad de hacer preguntas, la oportunidad de liderar. I'll start from the beginning. Have you read our Constitution? Article 1, Declaration of Rights. Section 15 is education, so every kid can read and write. A multiracial coalition knew it must be guaranteed. Back in 1868, they worked to give our children what they need. La oportunidad de aprender, la oportunidad de pensar, la oportunidad de hacer preguntas, la oportunidad de liderar. Now the governor's called for action to protect our public schools, while the controller sits and worries how the old Supreme Court ruled. And the Assembly has the money, which they're holding on too tight. But the people have the power, and we demand our children's rights. La oportunidad de aprender, la oportunidad de pensar, la oportunidad de hacer preguntas, la oportunidad de liderar. Please read our Constitution, Article 1, Declaration of Rights. Section 15 is education, so every kid can read and write. As we gather here in Raleigh, the truth has come to light. We the people have the power, and we demand our children's rights. La oportunidad de aprender, la oportunidad de pensar, la oportunidad de hacer preguntas, la oportunidad de liderar, la oportunidad aprender, la oportunidad de pensar, la oportunidad de hacer preguntas, la oportunidad de liderar. Gracias.